AT&T. Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. And Sun Life Financial. Annuities, employee benefits, life insurance.
Joe Tessitore and Rod Gilmore with you here at the Carrier Dome. That's not far away from that center academic quad. Opened in 1980. You see the success that they've had through the years, and they're hoping to get back to some of that top-level success under head coach Doug Marrone, who played offensive line here for the Orange back in the 80s. A lot of that discipline and structure that paid off for them back then has been brought back. Really impressive guy, the way he runs the program. And many up here call him the friendliest coach in America. Meanwhile, he's opposite a guy that's been called the offensive guru of recent college football. Dana Holgorsen was one of the most talked about coordinators in the game. Led Oklahoma State to top national offensive categories. Texas Tech and Houston were other stops along the way. He's always dazzled with the big stats offensively. West Virginia won the toss. They deferred, so Syracuse will receive. Tyler Bittencourt to kick off for the Mountaineers. And back deep will be Dorian Graham and Jeremiah Kobina for the Orange. Number 15 against the 4-2 Syracuse Orange. And this is Graham. And Dorian Graham is forced out short of the 20-yard line. So that'll bring out the Orange offense, led by the senior from Westchester, Pennsylvania, Ryan Nassib. Who got off to a good start when the season began against Wake Forest, rallied them from down 15 points in the fourth quarter. He's been at his best when the game's on the line, with fourth quarter heroics and 3 of these overtime games with all that pressure, Rod.
He's had 4 game-winning drives this season. He's a tough-nosed quarterback. He'll stand in there and take the big hit.
Bailey gets the call on first down, and Antoine Bailey with a gain of 9 to open up the game. Tackled by Ian Smith, the free safety for the Mountaineers.
You know, when you think about quarterbacks, you like to know that they'll hang in there when times get tough. Last season against West Virginia, had a tough outing, but they won the ball game. Only 1 touchdown, 4 field goals in a 19-14 win.
2nd and 1 for the Orange as Bailey remains the featured back. You'll see a heavy dose of Antoine Bailey tonight. And now Nassib sprinting to the far side, and that is incomplete. Take a look at the starting lineup surrounding Ryan Nassib.
Well, he'll get a lot of help up front. When you think about guys like Provo tight end, he can be on that line of scrimmage. They'll flex him out from time to time. Bailey, not a big guy in the backfield, but he's a great runner bouncing to the outside. And Justin Pugh, the left tackle, has had a dominant season according to the coaches. I've watched some film on him, and he has played really, really well.
3rd and 1 as they go I formation. And Jerome Smith is the tailback. And Smith powers ahead for an Orange first down. That West Virginia defense, they played that stack defense, a 3-3-5, Rod.
Yeah, it's a solid defense, only giving up about 22 points a game, and it begins up front. You talk about guys who can get after the passer, Bruce Irvin, outstanding guy. They'll be paying a lot of attention to him tonight, probably a couple of guys, and then at the linebacking spot, Good was moved to the outside, had been in the inside, moved because of injury, and the freshman Snow, redshirt freshman, gets another start inside.
First down pass attempt, and Nassib gets it complete just across the 35-yard line to Beckett Wales, the sophomore tight end.
We'll finish up the lineups here. That secondary for West Virginia is a really good one. They've given up only 5 touchdown passes. They have 6 picks on the season. Veteran players, particularly Tandy on the outside there.
Tandy was first team All Big East a year ago. 2nd and 5 as Nassib will work out of the gun. And he's going to take it himself, and he's going to be a couple yards short as Pat Miller came up from that corner spot to meet the senior quarterback.
That's a little bit unusual. This is not an offense that usually runs Nassib. This is an offense that believes in using the tight end, and they have the good tailback 3rd and 3 situation. They're big on throwing the ball to their big targets.
Need to get just across that 40. And Bailey was stacked up right away by Najee Good, the unquestionable leader of this defense for West Virginia. Very, very active player.
Yeah, if you don't block him, you're not going to run the football. And he's a really good inside linebacker. We're keeping our eyes on him to see if Syracuse can get their guards and their fullback out there to block him. They did none of that in that last play.
So Jonathan Fisher on to punt, and the dangerous Tavon Austin back deep on the return for West Virginia. They want to play keep away from Austin. This is a high kick that bounces just near the 30-yard line and then out. And say hello to Geno Smith, the quarterback from Miami, who had that school record 468 yards against #1 LSU.
He's a very confident quarterback now, very poised, makes good decisions back there. Dana Holgorsen told us that he's not quite at the level of Case Keenum or Whedon at Oklahoma State, but he's getting there quickly.
They bring some pressure against Smith to open up the game, and it's batted down. Good surge by the defense, including Dion Goggins, the defensive tackle number 13, who got that arm up there.
You know, last year, Smith was a little bit of a fish out of water in that offense, which was a run-based offense. They had the quarterback running. He's much more comfortable in the pocket, but this one gets knocked down by Dion Goggins inside.
So 2nd and 10 as West Virginia, you'll see them pick up the pace throughout. And Sean Alston with the carry as they get Alston into the game. Hasn't been used a lot this year. Third and 8. And the decibel level rises in the dome. They pick up the pressure. Smith. And that is right at the line to make as it was hauled in by Tavon Austin. And the mark is going to be just a couple feet short. Shamarko Thomas had coverage of the talented Tavon Austin.
And Austin comes up with this, but you'll see by the spot and where he has, it's a good spot. He looks like he's about at the 42, 41, and that's where they spot it. He had to get to the 43.
And give credit to that Syracuse defense. West Virginia didn't punt in their last game against Connecticut. Michael Molinari will be kicking it away, and Stephen Renee is back deep for the Orange. And this is a directional spiraling kick that is fielded at about the 16-yard line. So a 3 and out for the West Virginia offense. ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Russell Athletic. There's the scene downtown. Fagan's down on Krause Ave, one of the popular spots with the Syracuse crowd.
You didn't take me there, though, pal.
I was back there in the day.
Yeah. Yesterday would have worked.
So Syracuse offense back on the field after their defense forced a 3 and out. Antoine Bailey with another decent run out across to the 21, tackled by Casey Vance.
Yeah, Bailey's an interesting running back. He's not a big guy. You know, he's only about 5'7", but 200 pounds. Great quickness. Has the ability to plant his foot in the ground and bounce the runs to the outside. He's not afraid to lower his shoulders inside, but he's not a big guy.
I want to apologize if you're experiencing any technical difficulties with the audio of this broadcast. Our folks are working on it. 2nd and 5. Nassib, and that was overthrown as he was trying to connect with Dorian Graham.
You know, we saw some of that in watching him on tape, that every now and then there'd be a pass that would sail over the head of his receivers, and you'd go, wow, he's looking so good. What happened? And some of his coaches say, you know what, he just gets excited when he sees a guy wide open.
I thought Coach Marone had an interesting comment to you yesterday, also talking about his motion.
Yeah, not snapping it off at the end.
And now he faces a 3rd and 5. And there was movement up front. That was Big George Wright, the nose tackle for the Mountaineers.
Prior to the snap, offside, contact in the neutral zone. Number 99 of the defense. The 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
That's the easy way to get it. First down for the Orange.
This offense is one that wants to be physical. They're 98th in rushing, 71st in passing. They haven't generated a lot of yards. They've been opportunistic when they've had a short field.
Bailey again on the ground, this time a gain of just about 2. He was met that time by Jawan Snow and Najee Good. Bailey had 94 yards last year in that win against West Virginia.
Right there, that's Nathaniel Hackett, son of Paul Hackett, well known as an NFL and college coach all these years, and this is Nathaniel's offense.
Smith now. And Jerome Smith with a gain up the middle that'll set them up for a 3rd and about 3.
You know, and this deliberate pace for this offense is a lot of what they did last year against West Virginia, kind of playing keep away, as you mentioned at the start that they would do.
It's what they need to do against Dana Holgerson's offense. They want to keep him pacing on the sidelines rather than calling plays. Stack formation tight on the far side with Bailey as the lone back on 3rd and 3. Passing here. Nassib. First down as he looked through everybody and then found David Stevens.
That keeps the chains moving, and it's very similar to their approach last season, staying on the field, keeping that offense off the field. They didn't score any points in the second half last year. They had but 1 touchdown. It was a field goal game.
It's strange to say, Rod, but hard to say a best case scenario is that they haven't crossed midfield, but yet 8-16 and counting down in a scoreless game in the first quarter. That's the kind of paced game they want. Flea flicker now. A little razzle dazzle. And it's overthrown, looking for Alec Lemon. So they take a shot that time on first down.
Well, West Virginia was expecting a shot early. Their coaches have been prepared, looking at the tape and recognizing that Syracuse likes to take a shot early, and Tandy was back there to defend. Now watch how Nassib stays in there. He's not afraid to hang in there. But now you see he had pressure from Garvin on him, but Tandy was back there doing a nice job.
This is Adonis Amin Moore as they rotate the running backs in, and Moore gets it out to the 43-yard line. He's a different look compared to Bailey. He goes 5'10", 244.
Yeah, we said, you know, that Bailey was not a big guy. There's your big guy.
Yeah, Moore comes from Mullen High out in Denver. He's like one of those Rocky Mountain boulders coming downhill.
Yeah, good football program out there at Mullen Prep. Had a good program for a long, long time.
3rd and 5 now. Nassib in the face of pressure. Another first down as he finds his tight end, Nick Provo. So just moving the chains little by little. Ryan Nassib, going to the senior tight end, has been very productive.
Tough quarterback. We talked about it. Hangs in there, is willing to take the shot so that he can get the ball to the leading receiver on the team. Surprise, the tight end Provo. a tight end leading this team in catches. That is key to their moving the chains, the short turnaround routes.
First down across midfield. Play action now. Pass time downfield and off the deflection. Good work by Alec Lemon. Just watch that ball the whole way.
Well, he did more than that. He came back to the football and prevented an interception.
Kind of shielded the defensive back there.
Yeah, he came back and cut in front of Garvin. Now watch Garvin. Garvin's in position to make a play, but Lemon comes back to the football. All good receivers must do that. If he doesn't come back, that's a pick.
8.5-yard reception. Little window dressing now from the Syracuse offense as they move around the H-backs. And they come with the end around to Kobina. And Kobina picks up the first down. He's their kick returner, the freshman from New York who was the state sprint champ, Jeremiah Kobina.
Well, we've seen a little bit of this, the trick play, the reverse. They're trying to find a way to get some explosive plays from the outside. They haven't done a great job of getting the big play from their wide receivers. And here's a young guy who has the ability to give them that big punch, and they're getting him into the lineup and trying some trick plays.
So they've had the end around on this drive, the failed flea flicker, and now a first down at the 35. Bailey tried to get past the first would-be tackler, but then Terrence Garvin and Casey Vance ended up finding him.
But that's the other part of playing keep away, is that the West Virginia defense is built for speed. It's built for playing against a one-back offense, three wide receiver set. That's why you have that 3-3-5 defense. What Syracuse wants to do is line up and pound them. They want to use their big linemen, their big tight ends, and see if the smaller, faster guys can hang in there with that.
12th play of this drive here. A 2nd and 9 as that clock churns. Nassib, plenty of time and complete again. Graham, and he breaks free. And Dorian Graham inside the 10-yard line.
Plenty of protection, no worries back there for Nassib. And Graham does a great job. Missed tackle by Miller, which allowed Graham to make that play. Now you're talking about a receiver getting some yards after the catch and making a guy miss.
First and goal. Amin Moore. How about that boulder getting it down to the 2-yard line? Adonis Amin Moore.
I like it. I like it.
Well, that's an ideal drive for them, Rod.
Perfect. It is textbook. And they couldn't have drawn it up any better. Control the clock, get first downs, have your wide receivers catch short passes, and get some yards after the catch. And
keeping Geno Smith seated with the helmet off. Just as important. Look at that. 13 plays, now over 6 minutes. 2nd and goal. Was that something? Nick Provo. They bought it. Nassib sold it, and they scored it.
It was the play action that forced the safeties and linebackers to jump up. They paid no attention to Provo. He snuck right behind him, wide open. Nobody in the end zone with him.
And Troutman tacks on the extra point. Oh, there is a flag down right in the center of the field. So we'll wait for John
Running
McDade.
into the kicker, number 6 of the defense. Penalties decline. Point after touchdown is good. Timeout.
So referee John McDade cleans things up. Bottom line is to set it on the board for Syracuse. A 14-play drive capped with that to Nick Provo. This game has been, the victor has had the Ben Schwartzwalder Trophy. Ryan Nassib back on the bench talking things over with his O-cord and probably getting a nice pat on the back as well. 14-play drive has given them a 7-zip lead. And the flag is going to come out here with the kick that went out.
Kickoff out of bounds on the kicking team. By rule, ball be placed in the 40-yard line. First down.
Let's go back to the touchdown. I want you to focus on how aggressive the linebackers are. Here's Provo. He's going to sneak in. But watch all the linebackers. They are so caught up in the running game, they ignore Provo completely. You couldn't draw it up any easier than that. They're so in tune with the running game that the tight end is an afterthought in the passing game. We will see that again in this ball game.
By the way, that 14-play drive, that was the most plays allowed by West Virginia in a scoring drive this season. And Sean Alston getting more work here as he has a gain of about 4.5 yards for the Mountaineers.
As explosive as the West Virginia offense is, you want to keep them off the field. And you see Syracuse has done that. Over 9 minutes of ball control offense so far.
Smith on 2nd and 6 over the middle and gets it complete to Devon Brown. And just like that into the orange territory to the 38. He was tackled by Diabate.
This is an offense that can put up points. They are 3rd in passing, 380+ yards a game. They score 41 points a game on average.
Pistol formation now for Smith on 1st down here. They bring pressure straight up the middle, but he gets it complete to Garrison, and Garrison with blockers in front. So a good game after Geno Smith was backed up.
Well, he had the perfect call. They went with a screen pass, and Geno Smith got a lot of depth. Watch how far he retreats from the pressure, allowing plenty of time for his running back Garrison to get out there on the screen.
So consecutive gains of 17 yards and now 16 yards. Another 1st down for the Mountaineers. Delayed handoff to Garrison. And he picks up 9 that time. They are on the move now. Philip Thomas with the tackle of Garrison.
You know, Geno Smith took a little bit of a hit on that last play, and Diabate was the guy who came in, number 18 there with the hit. A little bit of chippiness, a little bit of chatter between the two afterwards.
2nd and 1. It's a pass, looking for the end zone, and just beyond the outstretched arms of Stedman Bailey. Keon Lynn was with him stride for stride.
It does not take West Virginia long, does it, to get back down the field. They want to match. They want to control the pace of the game. So far, Syracuse has. So this is a big 3rd down for West Virginia.
And they've got the big backs in there, Alston and Clark. 3rd and 1. And the flags fly in.
Let's start. Number 20 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And look at the look on Dana's face there. 3rd and 1 with your big backs in. Now turns into a 3rd and 6.
That's a big change. But this offense can pick that up the way that they run so many crossing routes. They drag to get a guy open. If Geno Smith has time, they will find guys open.
Pressure. Complete, but he's got to make that line, and Austin does inside the 10 for a 1st and goal. He was dragging Philip Thomas for a ride.
Well, that's one of the staples of their offense, that crossing route, particularly with Austin. It essentially becomes a long handoff after people have cleared out of the way.
Garrison comes back in with Clark in the backfield now. Looking for the fade. And it was incomplete as he was trying to find Ivan McCartney. Rashard Anderson had coverage of McCartney. Let's look at what West Virginia has done in the red zone so far this year.
Well, you know the standard by now. By now, you've got to be up around 80% to be considered good in the red zone. They are less than that.
In terms of touchdowns?
Yeah, they're about 65% with touchdowns.
Second and goal. Garrison. Nothing doing at all. Met by Dan Vaughn and Marinovich.
And every week we have helmets come off during our games. There's another helmet on the floor, the carpet.
Mikhail Marinovich, half-brother to Todd Marinovich, the old USC quarterback who played for the Raiders. 20 years apart they are. Third and goal now. Incomplete.
Well, they missed the pressure. There was pressure coming and it was unaccounted for. It looks like it was Thomas coming from his strong safety spot. They didn't see it. No one picked him up. And Smith never got time to settle down or set his feet. Bad throw inside.
Tyler Bittencourt is 11 of 12 on field goals on the year. And he puts through this 27-yarder. 7-3, Orange on top. Look back with our accurate drive recap.
Well, it was a nice, time-consuming drive. Big plays from the wide receivers, including Lemon. They came in with an end around with Kobina. Took a shot down the field, got a great play out of Graham. But it was mostly focused with the ground attack, but finished it off with the pop pass touchdown to Provo when the linebackers were so focused on the running attack. That scoring drive by Syracuse took up a lot of time.
Exactly what head coach Doug Marrone wants. A 7-3 game here in the Dome. And a booming kick. That'll go for the touchback. Saturday night on the ESPN networks. Good action throughout. You got Tennessee, Alabama on ESPN2. How about this on ESPN? Russell Wilson, number 6, Wisconsin against Michigan State. ABC or ESPN3. You can see the Oklahoma game, Texas Tech, and Washington, Stanford. But you look at those 4 games, and what do you see? Rod, you see Heisman candidates throughout.
Well, you're all over this thing. You're tracking this all season long. And I think if you look at the 4 guys to the left, we won't see Kellen Moore much tomorrow, but Wilson faces the toughest defense in Michigan State.
Wilson has the best chance to take a pop tomorrow night. Those are the results of our Heisman poll of official Heisman voters at ESPN. So it's a real accurate look as where the race stands right now. First down now. And Syracuse's Antoine Bailey with a gain of 3.
Okay, so you get these poll results each week. Now, what's the trend been so far? It seemed to me that Trent Richardson made a move last week.
Trent Richardson made a big move. Here's the trend. We had so many good candidates for those of us who vote in the poll to choose from that it was spread out. And that's why Andrew Luck had a big lead. But now with the concentration on Russell Wilson and Trent Richardson, you're seeing that lead tighten up. 2nd and 6. And the quick screen as they're able to get it. It'll be 2 yards short.
Yeah,
Kobina was unable to get away there.
Yeah, he's been on the field, I think, 2 or 3 times, and he's touched the ball both times he's been on the field.
No, he's their freshman kick returner. We told you, just blazing speed. We saw him on the end around, and then we saw him there on the screen, just trying to make the most of that speed to the outside.
15 minutes in the books.
So that is the end of the first quarter. Syracuse had that long 14-play drive. They lead 7-3. You know, we were just talking about the Heisman Trophy. ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Russell Athletic. Glad you're with us, Joe Tessitore and Rod Gilmore here at Syracuse, where they dedicated the newest student residence hall, Ernie Davis Hall, back in 2009. That's to honor the 1961 Heisman Trophy winner. First African-American to win the Heisman Trophy. Of course, the 50th anniversary of his spectacular year for the Elmira Express. There's a slant thrown slightly behind Graham, but look at him stiff arm and get all the way down to the 40-yard line. You can see Graham a little slow to get up as we look back at that first quarter.
Yeah, the thing that jumps out at you, look at the bottom there. 22 plays, 10.5 minutes time of possession for Syracuse. That means they've been on the field, and West Virginia has not.
Jeep is proud sponsor of the ESPN Jeep Ultimate Tailgate Experience, touring college campuses around the country. Log on to ESPN.com, search Jeep to learn more.
Next up on the ESPN Jeep Ultimate Tailgate Experience tomorrow, number 10 Oregon taking on Colorado, Folsom Field there in Boulder. Darren Thomas, by the way, expected to play for Oregon tomorrow.
Well, they didn't miss a beat when Bennett stepped in for him.
I thought Bennett was great.
Oh, man.
How fast is that kid?
That entire team has a lot of speed.
Nassib. Good strike downfield to Van Chu. Let's check in with Ryan Burr.
All right, Joe, as we told you, it is a Big East doubleheader. Great game at the Carrier Dome over on ESPN2. It's Rutgers and Louisville. Cardinals strike first. Jeremy Wright off to the races down to the 1-yard line. A couple plays later, it would be Dominic Brown that would punch it in for Louisville. Remember, Rutgers 2-0 in the Big East, become bowl eligible with a win, but at the end of the first, they trail 7-zip. Joe?
Thanks, Ryan. Antoine Bailey back to the ground, and he crosses the 40-yard line. Now, Big East action going on down in Louisville. It's been a conference that has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons recently.
Yeah, well, Syracuse and Pitt moving on to the ACC. Certainly seems like really good moves for both those programs. Boise State and Central Florida have been invited. Not clear if they will come yet. And conference exit fees likely to be raised.
2nd and 7. Bailey the lone back. And another quick strike for a first down as he connects with Nick Provo. Again, remember Provo had the touchdown at the end of that long drive.
Yeah, you know, we're talking about Big East teams and the exit fee. Remember, that exit fee goes up to $10 million if they bring in new teams. Any team that leaves before expansion won't have to pay $10 million. And here's a look at the remaining teams right now.
Listen, what's going on with Missouri right now could really create a domino effect that causes more disruption to this league. And now Bailey with the run. Just a minimal gain that time as Casey Vance came in to make the tackle.
Well, clearly Syracuse was of the opinion that things were not looking good in the Big East, and they took the opportunity to get out and get to a more stable situation.
Well, I mean, that's the key word, stability.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right now, the Big East is a burning house with people running out the front door, hoping they can put out the fire and invite some more house guests.
How do you really feel?
Well, I mean, that's really what it is.
I agree completely. It's a tough deal for them right now.
2nd and 7 now. As they quickly get it to Bailey. Bailey trying to get to that edge, and he's going to be about 1.5 yards short as he was cut down by Pat Miller. See, Syracuse, of course, I mean, just a pillar of a member of the Big East through the years, especially you think Big East basketball and everything they've accomplished with Jim Boeheim.
Yeah. Well, they've got another third down here. They're 4 or 5 on third down. They've been able to convert because they've had manageable situations like 3 yards and less.
3rd and 2 now. Bailey from the I formation. Good block, and he scoots ahead to the 15-yard line. That was a good block by Adam Harris, the 248-pound senior who transferred from Cornell, was a walk-on, and now a team captain.
You know, Tess, you're talking about blocking. Get a load of that. Just watch the fullback that you mentioned, Harris. Look at him blow up there on good, which allows his back to get more yardage.
Back to the ground with Bailey as they're trying to find consistent success there.
Well, we talked about the fact that this defense is a fast defense. So they're not trying to run outside. They're just pounding inside. A big offensive line taking shots at this defense that has 5 defensive backs.
2nd and 7. If they do go to the air, Nassib has completed 9 straight. Empty backfield here as Bailey comes to the near side slot. Oh, it was right off the hands of Provo. A should have been.
Wow. Well, that's very similar to the play that we saw earlier. Here he is. We talked about the linebackers being aggressive. He comes up free. No one touches him. Oh, ball's right there. Now, it might have been a little bit hot, but he got his head around to find it. That's got to be a catch. That play's worked twice with 1 catch.
So instead, it's a 3rd and 7. Play action. It's going to take another shot. And flag. No, they're tussling. And there is the flag at the 20-yard line.
Wow. They flagged Bruce Irvin.
11 of the defense. Defenders have position to the goal line with an automatic first down.
Michael Hay and Bruce Irvin were going at it, and then it looked like everything stopped, and then Irvin tried to extricate himself to get his hand loose, and he pulled it out. And as he pulled it out, the referee threw the flag on.
And Bruce Irvin's trying to explain himself over on the sideline to the coaching staff. All they know is that it's 1st and goal Syracuse, and that's all they care about.
I think Irvin might say, wait a minute, if you maybe I did something wrong at the beginning, but what I did at the end, all I did was pull my arm out.
1st and goal. Bailey down to the 1. There's a little something in the air here tonight at the Dome, isn't there?
Well, all the fans are feeling it.
They are.
It is loud, very loud.
And
a lot
it's
of
transferring down to the field.
Well, I think the fact that they beat West Virginia last year and that this team has been playing with a lot of confidence and winning close games really makes the fan base believe.
Remember, they had a 14-play drive to score their first touchdown. This is the 14th play of this drive coming up. And it ends the same way. Touchdown, Orange. They are following the plan precisely. Another long drive, taking lots of time and cashing in. Ryan Nassib from a yard out.
It's college football primetime. Brought to you by Sprint. All football, no limits. Only from Sprint. And Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
Gonna go eat a pie down at the varsity, Rod?
The one that doesn't have any meat on it. Sure.
That is Varsity Pizza. Simply Varsity if you're from these parts. Family owned and operated since 1926. And if this score stays this way, the marching band's going to go down there and play. That's the tradition after a home win. Joe Tessitore and Rod Gilmore with you at the Carrier Dome, where they have talked about taking the next step in rebuilding this program. Well, this would be it. Number 15, West Virginia, is trailing by 11. Austin from the 6. And Austin shakes free before he is forced out just before the 30-yard line.
Back to the touchdown. I want you to see the great job that Michael Hay does over there on that side. And watch how the linebackers get caught up inside. They are so aggressive. Hay crashes down that side and gets all the linebackers caught up inside because they're so aggressive. They can't move out. They can't scrape to the hole. And it was an easy time for Nassib to just run behind Bailey into the end zone.
If you ask Doug Marrone, what do you want your first 2 scoring drives to look like this morning? That's what he would have said.
Picture perfect.
Now Dustin Garrison for the Mountaineers, and it just feels like West Virginia has barely been on the field offensively tonight.
Well, that's because that's right. They've had the ball for barely over 4 minutes, and Syracuse has had it for more than 15 minutes. So the challenge for West Virginia now is to be patient and not to get flustered by the fact that they haven't had the ball and to try to do too much.
3-yard gain by Garrison. Smith out of the gun here on 2nd and 7. Pressure off the edge, and he does get it complete that time to Willie Millhouse.
But they got another hit on Geno Smith.
The chase heads to NASCAR's biggest wild card, Talladega. Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. As Jimmy Johnson looks to bounce back from last week's setback.
Yeah, he fell off.
3rd and 5. Dome is alive. Just lofts it up there for Bailey, and he comes down with it and keeps himself in bounds all the way for a score. Kevin Scott and Jeremy Wilkes were all over Bailey, but some way, somehow, he turned it into a 64-yard touchdown reception.
Well, he got single coverage. They came on a blitz, and Bailey got single coverage, found the football, out-jumped the defender on that side, Kevin Scott. He beats him at the line of scrimmage, but then when the help comes over from Wilkes, the safety, Wilkes was playing for the ball and not to make the tackle.
Now look at his feet. You tell me. Does he stay in?
Well, that looks clean. That looks clean.
You can see green between the shoe and the white sideline. That is spectacular footwork by Stedman Bailey.
He's become a real big play receiver on this team this season, giving them the deep ball, and that was an athletic move to get up and get that ball in the air and to stay in bounds.
That's just tremendous athleticism.
Yeah, from that angle, that right foot looked like maybe it was out of bounds, but as we saw from the other angle, there was green between his shoe and the sideline. There you see a little bit of green right there. He's clearly in bounds there.
Remember, they need indisputable video evidence to reverse the call on the field, which was a touchdown.
I think they have evidence that will confirm the call on the field.
Exactly. Bob Welsh, you saw the replay official for the Big East. Of course, Big East replay officials in this dome have made headlines of another sort this year. Saw what happened. I'm sure you see it every week on the worst of the worst on the not top plays. The extra point against Toledo that was ruled good, but clearly wasn't, as we've seen about 1,000 times.
The worst part of that was that it was confirmed to be good on replay.
Video review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Now, when they say the ruling on the field is confirmed, they mean that the video evidence actually confirms what everybody just saw, that they saw something proving it to be right. That's what they actually said in the missed extra point against Toledo, that it was confirmed as good. Obviously, egregious error by the officiating then. As this extra point on cue nearly does exactly the same thing that happened in that Toledo game. Wow. Tyler Bittencourt was 30 for 30 on extra points until this. We had controversy here in the Carrier Dome back on September 24th over the extra point that was or wasn't. Well, they said it was good. Syracuse against Toledo.
They're taking a look at that extra point right now.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Try is good.
Clear as day, it was no good, but it didn't matter. Toledo had to come down and tie the game at 30. Syracuse went on to overtime to beat Toledo. And what is it about that upright on that side of the field? Because just moments ago, Tyler Bittencourt.
Wow. Almost in the exact same spot.
So with that, missed PAT, a 14-9 Syracuse lead. Dorian Graham now on the return, and Graham, he makes a great move. Will they get him? No way. Touchdown. Return by Dorian Graham. He gets a hug from Doug Marrone and a roar from the crowd. What a way to answer after the 64-yard touchdown catch by Bailey. And a timeout was called that time by Syracuse after the kickoff return.
This was a brilliant return. This should be about a 40, 50-yard return. But watch what happens here. He's got his eyes, and he can see and feel the pressure coming. He makes a move to get outside when he sees it and feels it, and that's the opening move. That cutback right there where he felt the safety coming over when he was trying to make a move on the kicker opened up the return.
So Syracuse used a timeout, gathered themselves before the extra point here. And Troutman puts it through. 21-9, number 15 in a hole. Celebrating its 7th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. And to date, Allstate has contributed more than $2.5 million in scholarship monies. Rod, this week when we were really breaking down this game, we talked a lot about ball control for Syracuse, but there was something else we said. They're going to have one of those nights where a few special things happen. Kickoff return qualifies.
Well, I think that's right, but we saw something else. We saw guys on the outside start to make plays for Syracuse, which we hadn't really seen all season. Their wide receivers getting yards after the catch. But Graham coming up with that big play on the kickoff gives them the kind of explosive plays that they've been missing on offense most of the year.
One way to get the big play, you do it in special teams. By the way, Dorian Graham, one of those guys that shows up on the ESPN freak list for his athleticism. You got a good display of it there. Here's a guy that can do it too, Austin, but he goes nowhere. Wrapped up immediately that time by Syracuse Diabate.
There may not be a more hands-on head football coach than Dana Holgorsen. This is his offense. And he is on the sidelines working with the receivers, the quarterbacks, everybody. And this offense is his baby. He doesn't turn it over to anybody else.
Well, his baby better get running. Down 12. And a screen that bounced off the hands of Stedman Bailey. And you see the look to the side by Dana and the disappointment.
Well, the one thing that Syracuse has done well on defense is they've gotten hits on Geno Smith. And they're trying to keep him from getting comfortable. And they're willing to trade giving up a few passes for getting hits on him. I don't think they want to trade 64-yard touchdown catches like Bailey got. But they're willing to roll the dice and take shots with the blitz.
Going to run it on 2nd and 10. Garrison, a good burst as he gets a gain of 10 that time before he was cut down by Chandler Jones, who's back after being out since week 1.
Well, they backed out of there. I mean, they were so concerned about the pass that time that they just really opened up the inside to the running attack. I mean, look at the wide open seams there that Garrison gets to choose from.
Joe Madsen did a good job from that center position. He's been playing very well. First down for Geno Smith and the Neers. Pressure off the edge. Able to connect, and this is Garrison unable to shake loose. But he was able to get it just past the 35-yard line.
Well, Syracuse will keep coming. They've brought more pressure again, and they're bringing it from the safety spot, linebacker spot. Thomas that time was the one getting in there, and they're forcing West Virginia to go to the screen game to try and slow down the pressure.
2nd and 4 now. Smith. He gets it. Oh, right at midfield. Tavon Austin had him hit it in the numbers, and he couldn't hold on.
Yeah, and they picked up the blitz that time, too. I mean, they got the right protection to pick up the blitz, and Smith had time for Austin. That's just a drop. That's just right there. Austin just dropped it on a big third downs created by that man.
3rd and 4. Looking out on these 3rd downs. A lot of time for Geno. Looking over the options. A flag is down in the backfield. The pass, if it stands, is complete to Brown for what would be a first down, but let's check here.
Oh, number 55 of the offense, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And that time, they only brought 4 guys. You know, they had enough guys to block him, but what's going on is that Smith is getting hit so much that they're starting to panic and worry about protecting him, and they're continuing to get constant pressure. 5 guys, 6 guys, 4 guys.
And that guy can get after it. That is Jones, the senior defensive end. A chance to pin back the ears, burst out of that stance here on 3rd and 14. They need to get just short of the 40. Flag is down as he gets it out to Brad Starks.
Offside. Number 95, the defense, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, that will give West Virginia a do-over. It'll be about a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9. And how about what Scott Schaefer, the defensive coordinator, is doing for Syracuse? And he's not shy about bringing the pressure.
Doing a good job of changing it up. Getting after him, then dropping some. But they want to hit Geno Smith time and time again, as there is Scott Schaefer, defensive coordinator for the Orange. 3rd and 9 now. And a 1st down for the Mountaineers as Brown secures it out to midfield. That was a good job that time by Geno Smith.
Well, they did a nice job of picking up the pressure that was coming that time. Alston, watch number 20 step up and pick up the pressure. Well, that allows them to find time to get Brown over the middle.
So 19 yards on 3rd and 9. 1st down at midfield. Now they only bring 4, and he's going to air it out, looking for Bailey again. And Bailey had a jump on Rashard Anderson, but just a little too much from Smith.
You know, and that's the way you take a team out of the blitz. If they're going to play single coverage on you and bring pressure, you beat them over the top. Now, Syracuse hasn't given them that option a lot. They've dropped guys in zone coverage deep behind the blitz.
Boy, Bailey's got a burst, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
2nd and 10 now. Here comes pressure. And Smith is taken down all the way at the 37-yard line. Jeremy Wilkes was the first to get after him, and then it was Chandler Jones who cleaned things up. Third and 22 as West Virginia hurries up to the line. They have to get to Syracuse's 40-yard line. Three by 1 with Garrison as the back. Jones again. Welcome back. Injured in week 1 against Wake Forest, missed 5 games, healed up on the bye week, and playing a major role here in the first half.
He is 6'5", 250 pounds, considered an NFL prospect. He's right here. Look at the strength, the power, and the move to get inside. And the pressure on Geno Smith has been relentless tonight.
Michael Molinari on to punt again. First-year punter for West Virginia. Stephen Renee falls for the fair catch and secures it at the 25. That Syracuse defense is playing awfully good against this West Virginia offense that's scoring 40 points a game. Not tonight, says Mr. Jones. And Coach Holgerson just a wee bit upset, isn't he? I would need to be in it. I mean, I am purely addicted to this thing. We come back to Syracuse here, 21-9. Joe Tessitore and Rod Gilmore. The app's unbelievable, Rod.
Oh, I love it. I'm actually kind of tracking the Rutgers game right now. With our game.
You got it working right now.
I got it going. So it works out pretty well.
So tomorrow you can dial up a little ESPN watch action. Now listen, Washington, Stanford, as well as Oklahoma, Texas Tech. Wherever you are, one game's going to be on ABC at 8 o'clock. The other one, go to the app.
Works great, man.
First and 10, the Syracuse 25-yard line.
Antoine Bailey Crosses the 30. Let's check in with Ryan Burr. What's up, Ryan?
Coming up on the Dell Halftime Report, I'll be joined by Mark May and Lou Holtz. Get you caught up to date on Louisville and Rutgers. Tell you there's an upset brewing there as well. The guys' game, but take your pick, including which undefeated is on upset alert. And we'll head to East Lansing, Michigan, where Michigan State will host Wisconsin. Game day is to be there. Get us set for all the big games. Coming up on the Dell Halftime Report.
Chris Fowler and the crew will have game day and get you set for that Wisconsin-Michigan State battle. Massive now. This is right at the line of scrimmage, as Jared West had nowhere to go that time, tackled by Darwin Cook.
Well, the one thing that stood out about Nassib on tape, film, is his ability to throw on the run. Last year, 5 of 15 struggled, but having a heck of a night tonight, and I love it when he's on the move. He's very accurate throwing on the move.
3rd and 4. Taking his time, looking things over, using every moment, every second of that clock there. And that's incomplete as he tried to get it to Stevens. And Stevens was covered by Cook, a redshirt freshman out of Cleveland, who's been getting time at that bandit safety spot for Coach Holderson. So West Virginia defense does their job, and with 3 minutes to go before the half, they're going to have a chance to chop into this Syracuse lead.
West Virginia has only run 23 plays tonight.
Jonathan Fisher, his first punt was only 30 yards. They want to play keep away from Austin. This is a good boot. All the way back at the 15, right against the sideline for Austin. And Austin is able to get it out to the 30-yard line.
Well, only 23 plays for the offense, but the big point of the night is that Geno Smith has been knocked around. And Syracuse keeps coming after him with blitz after blitz. They've sacked him twice in the first half. But even when he's not being sacked, he's being harassed and knocked around.
He's trying to dial up a little help.
A little protection from his offensive line.
But now an opportunity to close out the first half the way they prefer. Garrison in motion. Pressure again on Smith, but he steps up, batted into the air, and it falls incomplete. And it was Chandler Jones. So back-to-back sacks for Jones, and then the batted ball there. He is on his game.
This Syracuse team is being very physical and trying to intimidate West Virginia. Take a look at this on the sideline. That's a little bump by Clavina that knocks Austin down. Could have got flagged for it, but they are being quite physical with West Virginia.
Jones with 5 tackles, 2 sacks, and that batted pass. Second and 10 now. Going to launch it downfield, and he has it complete to Millhouse. And a big strike for the Mountaineers inside the 30.
Well, Millhouse got to the outside, and then Scott, who was over there playing inside as a safety, wasn't able to get there and help out.
43-yard reception.
Still another hit on Geno Smith.
And that is the goal.
Second charge out of the half. Syracuse.
So Syracuse is going to use a timeout, leaving them, West Virginia take a break here, 21-9. Morgantown, this would be a big notch in the belt up against number 15 here tonight. First down for the Mountaineers. Play action. Smith to the end zone. He goes. And that was incomplete as Ivan McCartney.
He's down too.
Was down behind the end zone here in the dome and reaching for his leg. That is not a good sign at all.
He was working against Keon Lynn over there. Lynn had good coverage. And McCartney went down. It wasn't anything that Lynn did. Lynn didn't appear to knock him down or anything. They were both battling for position and looking back for the football. Looks like he had a little misstep when he came down.
Immediately reaches for his left leg. And he's a young man from South Florida who the coaches feel is really improving. Ivan McCartney is a cousin to Chad Ochocinco. Big target, 6'3". As you can see the concern on the faces of the West Virginia fans as the medical staff of the Mountaineers takes a look at that left leg.
Let's watch his step at the end here with the left leg. A little kind of a short misstep right there.
Reminder that Saturday night on the ESPN networks, as you see the good sound of McCartney getting up to his feet. Got #2 Alabama in action on ESPN2, their rivalry game against Tennessee. The big one is Wisconsin and Michigan State. And Russell Wilson in the midst of that Heisman campaign. Of course, everybody chasing Andrew Luck, who, you know, I've heard the criticism with Stanford. Who have they played yet? Well, Washington's playing great football, as is their quarterback, Keith Price.
Yeah, Keith Price has been having a phenomenal season. I think people kind of wrote Washington off after the Nebraska game, but they've bounced back, and Washington's playing strong. That'll be a really good ball game out at Stanford.
So Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Washington, Stanford on ABC or available on ESPN3, depending on where you are. Good evening of primetime football with those 4 games and all those Heisman contenders that we talked about on the big platform tomorrow across our networks. So they launched it for McCartney. He was injured, now off to the sideline, and sets up a 2nd and 10 with that diamond backfield formation, Rob. Play action out of it. Smith gets it complete, and Bailey keeps his footing and is pushed down at about the 11-yard line. Boy, Stedman Bailey is really showing us what he's capable of.
That diamond formation gave a lot of room out here because they had to bring the safeties inside. A lot of room for Bailey to work, and you can see he uses that space to make sure he makes the guy miss him. And again, Geno Smith, more pressure.
So 1st down at the 12 after that catch by Bailey. Back to that diamond backfield with Garrison as the back. Play clock counting down. Here is Garrison. And he fights ahead just inside the 10. Goggins with the tackle.
That formation really forces a defense to declare how they're playing the wide receivers. There's so much room and space. You have to bring your guys in to deal with that formation.
Syracuse was racing to get off the field, and now a strike to the end zone.
Yeah.
There was no flag down, by the way.
Well, that's what we're talking about out there. And when they have those guys in the backfield, a big backfield set, you have to play single coverage on the outside.
So with that incompletion, it makes for a 3rd down, and a timeout is called by West Virginia. Now look at Dana Holgorsen.
Yeah, he wants a call. He thought there was too much physical contact in the end zone, and he wanted a pass interference call. You know, but Starks was the guy who was out there being covered, and they both had their hands on each other.
Holgorsen was ready to launch that headset back to Morgantown.
Yeah.
He's already starting to put the hands through the hair and work that magic. Dana Holgorsen, Rod, I mean, the only way to describe Dana Holgorsen prior to this year is he was the buzz guy. The hot commodity.
Yeah.
The offensive coordinator that everybody knew was going to be the next head coach that got to get him. And Oliver Luck went out and got him. It just didn't work out quite the way they thought it would as to how he became the head coach.
Well, he was supposed to be the coach in waiting for a year, but that didn't work out. There were issues with Bill Stewart as the head coach while Hogerson was waiting. They got past that and moved Stewart out, and Hogerson took over a little prematurely. But it's his offense. He had been installing it. He's running it. Everything you need to know about him. He played for and he coached with Hal Mumme and Mike Leach, the guys who were the gurus of this spread attack, this passing spread attack. Second thing we need to know about him is that he's a Red Bull guy.
Is he ever?
Maybe a dozen a day.
Well, he starts the day with coffee before he goes to his energy drinks. They go through about 8 cases of energy drinks in that coaching staff a week. Yet he's as calm as could be when you see him pregame.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he's perfectly fine. That's his routine. But he goes through those things. He's a guy that is excitable during a game anyway. I mean, he's passionate about the way he coaches his players.
And tonight, he's getting a game that's not the way most West Virginia games look. A slowed pace put forth by Syracuse. Long 14-play drives to get on the board. Dealing with the injury to Ivan McCartney as you see him now walking it off. And West Virginia, here with 1:34 to go, will be facing a 3rd and 7, trying to close and cut into this Syracuse lead.
Well, any points right now for West Virginia would be good for them. They could go into the half saying, we didn't play great, but we're only down by a possession or something.
Hogerson, of course, was upset that Syracuse seemingly had too many players on the field prior to that last play, but there was no penalty, so it sets up a 3rd and 7 now.
You know, they might have something over the middle, but they look like they're going to get double coverage on the outside.
Play action. Geno Smith. Cross the middle, and it is intercepted. Jeremy Wilkes with a huge defensive play for the Orange.
Hey, this is what he sees. He sees these 2 safeties. He thinks he can squeeze the ball in there. What he doesn't get is that the safety is actually playing in and out. And so he's inside leverage, and he's able to drive this. So the pre-snap read he got was not for real.
Hogerson's reaction.
Yeah, you got to read that better. He forced that one in there. He assumed the safety would stay to the outside.
And now they throw with 1:26 to go. Dorian Graham, who had that big 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to make this margin 21-9. And there is Scott Schaefer, the defensive coordinator for Syracuse. You know, he was shaking his head a few times thinking about going up against this West Virginia offense, but his team has played stellar on that side of the ball. Nassib just lunges forward for a gain of 1, tackled by Julian Miller.
Well, the question for West Virginia will be what adjustments will they make at halftime to protect Geno Smith? I mean, that's the big issue. I mean, he's rattled. He's been knocked around. He can't set his feet, and he's thrown a pick here. He's been sacked twice. They have to come up with an adjustment at halftime to get the ball out quicker and to protect him better.
Under a half minute to go in what has been a picture-perfect first half for the Orange. And that was incomplete, so they throw the ball on 3rd and 4 in that spot, leaving 21 seconds on the clock.
A little surprising. I mean, particularly that, you know, Marrone seems to be a somewhat conservative coach, and in that situation, if you go ahead and run the ball, you run some clock and you force him to burn a timeout.
I suppose the other thought was, you know, looking for a big upset on a night like this, don't fall into predictable form. But nonetheless, it leaves 21 seconds and West Virginia with 2 timeouts. And Austin to return with Fisher on to punt. Takes a bounce right into the hands of Austin. And they were able to contain him. He is a dangerous one. Well, Chris Fowler right now is in his hotel room prepping for tomorrow morning in East Lansing with Wisconsin and Michigan State, as Lee Kirk, Desmond Aaron, and David Pollock will join him for game day starting at 9 o'clock on ESPNU, 10 o'clock on ESPN. We're going to talk about those suspensions at LSU, the impact that'll have. Sammy Watkins, Clemson's freshman receiver.
Oh, he's great.
Aaron Andrews, and of course, Lee Corso. It'll be headgear pick number 200.
Wow.
3 times.
But you know what?
He has had to pick either West Virginia or Syracuse, and he never picked them.
Never. Not once. Not one time.
Gino now. Here's Austin with blockers in front. Watch out for Austin. And he scoots to midfield, but only leaving 3 seconds. But every time he touches the ball, you have to worry. If you're Syracuse and trying to hold on to this lead. Dana Holgerson, be interesting to hear what he says, and the changes he'll make, as you said, pass protection and just keeping guys off of Geno Smith, Rod.
That is the big issue.
Last play of the half. It's going to launch it, and it's going to come up well short. As Sproul just tried to bat it down and just hit the ground there. Been a familiar sight with Geno Smith on his back in a first half that was all Syracuse. 21-9, number 15. ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Russell Athletic. Little Lady Antebellum Friday night, and it is Syracuse's Friday night at the half, up 21-19, trying to pull off the upset against 15th ranked West Virginia. Joe Tessitore and Rod Gilmore with you here at the Carrier Dome. We talked about what they had to do to pull off this upset. Long sustained drives, right?
Yeah.
Special something. They got it in special teams, the big play, and put a lot of pressure on Geno.
It's been a great first half for them. The question is, can they continue that in the second half? So let's take a look at some great teamwork brought to you by Russell Athletic. It was all about the pressure on Geno Smith. Started with Thomas getting in there. Wilkes gets in for some pressure. Chandler gets a sack as well. Diabate also shows up with a hit. And then finally, it was Wilkes with the pick down at the goal line. But all night, the whole theme, keep the pressure on. Geno Smith kept going on and on. That was great teamwork by the Syracuse defense. They have shut down the West Virginia offense tonight. Look what they've done in the last 3 games as opposed to tonight.
Couple things to keep in mind. First and foremost, West Virginia is getting the ball to start this second half. And they've taken some big strikes downfield with those speedy receivers. Syracuse needed an interception down at the goal line when they were charging down, ready to cut into this lead. So let's see if West Virginia can do something to start off this second half and get themselves right back in here. Brad Starks on the return. And Starks tiptoes that sideline with a good return for the Mountaineers. Is he able to get it out to the 43-yard line? The numbers on Geno Smith, and keep in mind this is a guy that threw for 450 last game against UConn, went for 468 against #1 LSU.
Well, he was a 65% plus passer coming in tonight. He's below 50% tonight because of the pressure.
And get after him again. And he threw it high, looking for Stedman Bailey. It'll be 2nd and 10.
You know, Tess, that's that formation that we watched this week on film. When they put 3 receivers to one side and a single receiver to the other side, they force the defense to decide how to defend that single receiver. and we know that Geno Smith likes to look that way.
There's Anderson matching up with Bailey. 2nd and 10. Smith, and this time he is able to connect with Bailey.
Well, clearly that's one thing they talked about at halftime. They ran in the first half a lot of formations with 2 receivers to either side. This is 3-by-1, and they're working the side to the single receiver.
Leaves him with a 3rd and 1 after that gain of 9, and Garrison easily picks it up and then uses his blocks to the outside before he gets down to the 38-yard line, tackled by Orlando Fisher.
You know, Mark May talked at halftime about how West Virginia got away from the rushing attack. Well, that's because they panicked. I mean, they didn't have the football, and they wanted to hurry up and get into a rhythm. They wanted to throw the ball. They got away from running the ball.
Shane Alston is the back now with Smith on 1st down. Smith wide open is Tyler Urban, and Urban is inside the 20 down to the 15-yard line. Wilkes and Thomas collided with him, but Urban goes 6'5", 251. He was a tight end in the old system.
Yeah, the old system was one that focused on rushing, but they flipped it this year. More passing than running. Better production, 13 yards a pass versus when they run the football.
Late flag here.
Will be placed at the Syracuse 48-yard line.
Now, as Philip Thomas is down, and the referees are yet to clarify what happened at the end of that play, but there was a flag apparently back at the offensive backfield.
Thomas is the guy that they continue to work on, and the officials, a couple of officials are at midfield chatting. I don't know if they've decided that there's not a flag or not.
Well, apparently what we understand is that there was a holding call, but John McDade and this crew has yet to make any sort of announcement.
Well, he's actually writing down what looks like, you know, he's recording a penalty. So whatever flag was down, they picked up, and they're recording the infraction, but they've not announced it yet.
Meanwhile, Philip Thomas is dealing with an injury to his right leg as they will get him up. Now watch the end of this play as Urban was well downfield.
There's the flag on the field.
So they do mark it back to the 48-yard line.
First down and 20 from the 48-yard line.
It was a holding call, but the officials never made the call.
Secret holding.
So they need to get to the 28-yard line here on 1st and 20 to start this. As Bailey curls around, and Bailey gets it back to close to what was the original line of scrimmage. It'll make for a 2nd and 9. Rashard Anderson on the coverage there in the tackle.
Gain to the 37, 2nd down and 9.
Quickly they get off this play with Garrison, and Garrison able to tiptoe his way and juke, and he's very close to that line to make down at the 28-yard line. He was tackled by Diabate and Fisher. So from a 1st and 20 to a 3rd and about a foot.
Yeah, and they're spreading them out to make sure that they can see what they're doing, identify things with the triple receivers to one side. And when they get the chance to pop one quickly by hurrying to the line of scrimmage and run it, they do.
They're going to throw here on this third down, and Austin picks it up and a bit more before he is forced out. And Tyler Urban with a good block that time to spring Tavon Austin. So a first down for West Virginia at the 22-yard line.
He's changing the play because he sees Austin uncovered and thought they were coming with some pressure.
Near side slot, number 1, watch for him. And now they run with Garrison. Good blocking for Garrison before he is met by Philip Thomas. What a stick at the end of that.
But he adjusts to the running play from the coverage he sees, and that's a big hit at the end there by Thomas. They're in the rhythm right now.
2nd and 2 is Gino. Tries to give West Virginia a score here on this opening drive of the second half. Pick up the pressure. Smith. Incomplete at the 4-yard line. Looking for Brad Starks.
Yeah, Smith is not himself tonight.
Ball down on the ground enough. And,
any quarterback who gets hit that much loses something in accuracy.
Here's where this Syracuse crowd has been so supportive, turning this dome into the loud house on third downs. 3rd and 2. Garrison, first down and just short of the 10-yard line. Diabate came up to try to fill that hole.
Yeah, more patience by West Virginia on this drive.
1st and 10 on the 10.
To the end zone, but McCartney was well covered by Lynn and held up there. And McCartney, who remember was injured earlier, back out there. Very desirable target at 6'3" in situations like this.
A lot of room to the wide side of the field. This offense wants to create space for guys like Austin. A lot of room to cover out there with him.
2nd and 10, not 2nd and goal. The marker's just inside the 1. Smith. Garrison met right at the 10-yard line and then spins around. That was good defensive work by Jeremy Wilkes, and then Kevin Scott coming in as the second man.
Well, another poorly thrown ball by Smith. If he puts his ball out there to Garrison without him having a leap for it, Garrison might score. But he has to jump up and then figure out how to get around guys.
Another third down.
And a long one.
Austin, the deep back here in the diamond formation.
They get the single coverage outside.
They run it. And it works. It's going to be inside that 1-yard line, and that's right where the sticks are. Sean Alston with a good surge, and you can see they are right on that line to make. Well, for what would be a 1st and goal.
The thing that worked for them, that the safeties were so concerned about helping out on the outside, they didn't come in and fill. There was a lot of room for Alston to run, and he's close to the 1st down.
And now there is a Syracuse player down. It's Philip Thomas again.
Well, you know, he started cramping up earlier, and once the cramps begin, they really don't go away.
Yeah, it's too late to start hydrating. You got to have that in your system well before the game starts. Yeah, so this is something he'll deal with throughout. So they tend to him and they wait to measure. And we will tell you that the BCS Countdown presented by Vizio is Sunday at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit, Craig James. They will unveil the latest BCS polls to analyze who are the contenders and the pretenders. And who knows, maybe some things will shake up come tomorrow. You got a big one with number 6 Wisconsin at number 16 Michigan State versus number 1 LSU. You know, the game against Auburn, number 20 Auburn, without some of their key players, Rod.
Yeah, and you just think, we only had the first week of the BCS standings, yet we have folks already projecting what it's going to be at the end. There's a whole month and a half of football left, and so there's no need to figure it out right now. We understand that the computers like Oklahoma State and Alabama.
The measurement comes up just a couple of inches short. That run by Sean Alston, the mark they gave them, is just short. So it'll be a 4th and inches.
Oh, he's going to go. Dana Holgorsen will go. He's an aggressive coach. They've been running the football well on this drive. He's going to go.
2 fullbacks as the upbacks here, Lindemood and Kovac. And then the diamond formation featuring Sean Alston on 4th and inches. Alston. Waiting for the call here in the signal. Thomas came up and came around to meet him. And we will see where they mark it. Syracuse is celebrating.
Wow. Wow. It looked like Garrison got a surge in there and that he would at least pick up the first down, if not the touchdown. Actually, that's Alston, the bigger back.
Sean Alston on 4th and inches, but he was met well by Shamarko Thomas.
Thomas, 205-pounder.
And they got it.
Yeah, I didn't get the celebration. I think the Syracuse guys were happy they kept him out of the end zone, but he didn't need to get into the end zone.
Well, I'm wondering, did they think it was 4th and goal?
I think so.
4th and inches. He didn't need to score a touchdown. It's 1st and goal now. But the way they ran off the field, they were celebrating as if just keeping him out of the end zone was all that was necessary.
Right.
So they stick with this formation, the diamond formation with Alston as the deep back. And this time he scores. So West Virginia does their job to open up the second half. Remember, Bittencourt missed an extra point earlier. And this time, right down the center. And family and friends were here at this field that is named in honor of him. Ernie Davis Legends Field, the Heisman Trophy was on display. There's Uncle Chuck from downstate in New York, and so many 44s here in the Carrier Dome, and so many 44s, of course, were great ones wearing that jersey in the backfield, just like Ernie Davis. Great Brown, Floyd Little.
Great to see the Heisman that they have on display in their athletic center with all of the memorabilia for Ernie Davis. It's great stuff.
Jeremiah Kobina back deep for the Orange. West Virginia cutting it to a 5-point lead, and here's Kobina. He is the sprint champion. And a good return by the freshman Jeremiah Kobina. Let's check in with Ryan Burr.
All right, Joe, got a little Sports Center right now. The Red Sox and Cubs have jointly announced this evening that effective immediately, Theo Epstein has resigned from the Red Sox in order to become the new president of the baseball operations for the Cubs. Out of respect for the World Series, no one will say anything until Tuesday. Of course, we got a doubleheader over on ESPN2. Louisville leads Rutgers now 16-7. Terry Bridgewater to McKelly Harris. It's 16-7 over on ESPN2. Guys?
All right, Ryan. Bailey with a gain of just a couple. 47-yard return by Kobina set them up well here at midfield.
Well, the challenge now for Syracuse, they've been on the sideline for quite a bit of time when you factor in halftime, and they're out of their rhythm. So can they get back to that short passing attack? They worked outside to the receivers and ran the ball inside in the first half.
2nd and 8. A lot of shifting here in this offense. And Bailey has a gain of about 2.5 that time.
They went with their big lineup, 2 tight ends, along with Adam Harris at fullback, who's 250 pounds. And again, the idea, pound the fast defense. But remember, in the first half, they were successful throwing those quick outs and finding their tight end over the middle, which allowed them to convert on 3rd down. Like here, they need to convert on 3rd down.
It's 3rd and 5. Play action, Nassib. And he does get it that time to Van Chu. And it'll be a 1st down at the 40-yard line.
See, the West Virginia defense, their defensive backs in particular, they give you that short pass. They give you the pass in front of them and the outside pass. They take away the deep one. And so as long as you're willing to be patient and take those short throws out there, you can move the chains.
It's actually one of the first descriptives that Marone gave us of Nassib this week when we talked to him. Patient. Keep it on the ground this time by Amin Moore, tackled by George Wright. Here is Doug Marone, his 3rd year here at Syracuse. A night like tonight would be exactly what he's been talking about, getting to the next level.
Yeah, he said he talked to his team about that earlier, that other teams, he sees them get to that big win, and they need to get over the hump.
Second and 8. Nassib just trying to make the most of it, and he does, finding Dorian Graham.
We've talked about this all week. When we saw it on tape, we loved it. He is good on the move. When Nassib is on the move, he's very accurate. Doesn't matter if he's going left or right, a little better to the right, but when he's moving his feet, he throws the football really well. Squares his shoulders to the line of scrimmage, and he's able to put the ball there.
1st down just inside the 30 for the Orange. Tight formation here, and play action out of it. Plenty of time downfield, wide open, complete. Touchdown, David Stevens. West Virginia came down the field, cut into this lead. Nassib came right back on them. 28-16. They're going to play in South Florida in one of these Friday night primetime games up here. In recent years, they've been waiting for basketball season. They keep playing like this, they're not going to want football season to end.
No, they'll be at the football game.
28-16. Number 15 West Virginia in a hole here in the 2nd half.
That was a big statement drive. It said we're not going away.
This is Brown, Devon Brown on the return. Out to the 25.
Let's go back to that touchdown pass. It was a really smart play. Watch what they do. They occupy the safety right here, and then they use their tight end, Stevens, to sneak out on a wheel route. The only person who can help on that is the corner right there. And since the corner doesn't sink, Stevens is wide open. Occupy the safety in the middle, force the corner to make the adjustment. He doesn't, and Stevens is wide open.
First career touchdown catch for David Stevens. And Geno Smith back out on the field, down by 12. That was the margin at the break. They traded touchdowns here in the third. And out of the backfield is Garrison. And he is met hard at the 29-yard line by Chandler Jones. What a night for the defensive end, Chandler Jones.
Yeah, and in the first half, West Virginia had 11 yards rushing, 38 yards in the second half. It's been one of their adjustments to run the football and use this formation to try and get single coverage and force Syracuse to tip what they're doing.
2nd and 7 now. Pressure on Smith, and they got him again. Syracuse, Diabate, and Chandler Jones. And Fisher even ended up back there, the free safety.
Yeah, Fisher and Bromley, 96. But Jones has been having a big, big night in his return to action after having a leg injury. Dismisses his man, finishes off a sack there. Pressure. Watch him dismiss his man once again and reach over. They use the blitz as well.
Set up the screen here on 3rd and 15, and Garrison just hoping for the best. And then he'll fight his way back to the 25. That Syracuse defense is just flying around. Diabate in on the action there, but Chandler Jones back in action, firing up fellow defensive players and holding this West Virginia offense down a bit compared to what we're used to seeing week after week. Molinari onto punter Renee. The booming punt. Renee backs up inside the 30. And oh, wow, did he take a hit. Keith Tandy just came in and leveled Renee.
He timed it perfectly. He's the gunner, the lead man down. Nobody blocks him. And he times it perfectly and gets a good, fair shot on Renee.
And I'll tell you the other time you want to note that allowed for that is our special teams guru, Mike Black, who's to my left, says a 4.5 hang time.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So the Syracuse defense with a good effort, getting it right back to the Orange O. Bailey, just a gain of 1 that time. Najee good with the tackle. Building a Program is brought to you by Craftsman. You see the progression. There's Doug Marone now. Year number 3.
He's a little bit ahead of schedule. Got him to a bowl game in the 2nd season. And they're playing well this season. 4-2.
Nassib, look at the time. And then finally has to just get it out to the side there. And that was Beckett Wales.
He's playing with poise. He's a tough quarterback. He did not panic when the play broke down there. Kept the play alive and got something out of it. So it's not quite 3rd and 12, 3rd and 10. A little bit less than that, and they have a shot.
3rd and 8. They got to get it to the 38.
Tight end Provo has been good for them over the middle.
Three-step. And he put it right in the pocket of Jared West.
I don't think West had any choice. The ball stuck to him.
That was a sensational throw by Nassib.
Watch him. I think West just looks up and the ball's in there. Nice one-hand grab. It was a bullet.
He's playing with a lot of confidence.
Oh, absolutely.
13 yards on 3rd and 8. Play action now. Going to ask for a block out in front. And he strides towards midfield. Nassib, an incredibly smart player, both on and off the field. Has a 3.6 in the Whitman School of Business with a double major in finance and accounting here at the Cuse.
Yeah, he's been really good tonight, consistent, good first half, perfect in the second half so far. And on 3rd down, they've been great. They've been 7 of 11. He's been clutch for them tonight.
Here's Amin Moore. He's their big back. He's going to be a couple of yards short. It'll make for a 3rd and short as Casey Vance, the senior linebacker, got a hold of Adonis Amin Moore.
Last year, when Syracuse upset West Virginia, they converted half of their 3rd down situations. They're on the same pace tonight, and it's because they're able to create 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4. Manageable downs for them where they can run or pass.
3rd and 2. Jerome Smith is the back in the I formation here on 3rd and 2. Smith picks it up and keeps those legs grinding ahead to the 42. Good block by the left guard Chabane. Zach Chabane, the junior. Well, he really opened up a hole there.
Yeah, and you got to give Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, a lot of credit. I mean, he has patiently stayed with the inside running attack. Went outside once and realized way too fast, can't run outside on these guys. He's continuing to pound inside, and he's taking the short passes where this defense will allow him to throw it.
Smith stays in here on 1st down. See the edge in rushing yards for the Cuse. And Smith just crosses the 40. You know, I want to talk about the difference between last year upsetting a number 20 West Virginia and this year, because this is a much bigger task. That West Virginia team, as we saw in the middle of last season, their offense was sputtering a bit. Yep. Syracuse played good defense on that day. Their offense didn't do a lot inside the red zone. This just feels like a much more complete effort to be in this kind of a position tonight against this level of a West Virginia team.
I think that's right. And Julian Miller apparently is down on the field right now. But you're absolutely right about that point. Plus, Syracuse kind of snuck up on West Virginia last year. West Virginia knew full well what they were getting into tonight.
Julian Miller being tended to. We will take a break. Syracuse campus empty because everybody has packed into this place to see if their Orange can pull off an upset of number 15 West Virginia. They did it again. Nick Provo, Ryan Nassib kept it in the belly, pulled it out, and nobody had Provo. Check in with Ryan Burr.
All right, Joe, got an update for you. Rutgers on the comeback against Louisville on ESPN2. Gary Nova to Mahad Sanu. Sanu with 8 catches, 120 yards, and that touchdown. It's 16-14. Good one, Bruin on the deuce as well.
Nassib, this time pressured, and it's incomplete. So a 23-yard reception by Provo. Boy, they sold him in the first half on that too, Ron.
That's the same play they scored the touchdown on. And at the time, the linebackers were so aggressive, you had to know they would come back with this play again. It's the same play. Fake that, zone read inside, watch the linebackers come flying up and ignore the tight end Provo and just drop the ball in over their heads.
2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Tight ends have had a big role in this offense tonight. Bailey keeps his footing and then is dragged down by Julian Miller. It'll be a 3rd and short. Geno Smith just sits with his arms folded, waiting around, hoping for an opportunity to get back out on the field and rally his team.
He keeps looking at the clock.
And it's counting down. Exactly what these fans want to see. coming up on a half-minute left in the third, and another scoring opportunity. 3rd and 5. To pass. Got it. Provo again. Nassib is tearing them up. The tight ends doing their job, and Syracuse is rolling every which way.
Total confusion in the secondary. It's the same route they scored the last touchdown. Kind of a wheel route, tight end, going flat and going up. The guys in the secondary jumping on the inside route, totally forgetting about the guy outside. There's Jeff Castile, the D coordinator, can't be happy with the way his secondary is treating that route. They've blown it twice here in the second half.
Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, turned to us yesterday and he said this: we need to feed Nick Provo the ball until he throws up. I think there's some West Virginia fans that are about to get sick.
Yeah, well, they're sick of seeing those tight ends that have caught 9 balls for 96 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Says it all, doesn't it? Saturday night on the ESPN networks, we got a great night of action. Top teams, Heisman contenders, number 2 Alabama on ESPN2 against Tennessee. You can see what Trenton Richardson's up to there. On ESPN, number 6 Wisconsin, Russell Wilson taking on that tremendous pass defense of Michigan State. And in Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Washington, Stanford on ABC at 8 o'clock, or also available on ESPN3. And Andrew Luck facing a top 25 Washington team. Devon Brown out past the 30, tackled by Dorian Graham.
Well, tonight, Nassib has been outstanding. And what he's done from the quarterback spot, brilliant. Patient guy, good play action, finding Provo. Squeezing in for a touchdown. Confusing the secondary and finding his other tight end, Stevens. And then the wheel route, once again, to perfection to Provo. 4 touchdowns he's been responsible for tonight.
And this West Virginia team didn't take Syracuse lightly. They were trying to avenge an upset loss from last year, and they came in primed off a bye week. They bring pressure on Smith again. He steps up, launches it, and it is picked off by Phillip Thomas. Thomas makes a move at the 40, picks up a block, and is out to the 35. His dome is going to explode. Chandler Jones put pressure on Smith, and Thomas got the payoff. Syracuse 35-16. Dana's bummed out, man. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, and an upset Dana Holgorsen after Geno Smith just threw an interception to close out the 3rd quarter, and his number 15 ranked in the BCS standings Mountaineers are trailing 35-16. Syracuse ball, first down at the 35 to start the 4th. Antoine Bailey looking for that edge, upended after a gain of 3, and saying the knee was down at the end of that play. Keith Tandy cut him down.
Well, the pressure has really affected Geno Smith tonight. He's got a receiver out here, and he's going to have one out here, and that's where he's going to be trying to look. But he gets affected by the pressure and has nothing over the middle, but he still tries. Look right now. There's nothing in here except the things. The defense, and he goes to the middle. I know he gets hit, but there's nothing in the middle of the field. He's affected by the pressure.
2nd and 6. Bailey again, and just a gain of 1 that time as he was held up by Bruce Irvin and Najee Good.
His numbers tonight have not been typical of what he's done. Last season, He struggled against Syracuse, had 3 picks, got sacked 5 times. He has 2 picks already tonight and has been hit too many times for me to remember right now. He's been knocked around.
35 now, Nassib. He's had an outstanding game, playing smart football, and really connecting with his tight ends well. And this is complete for yet another first down. Van Schu, the senior receiver. Andy had the coverage on Schu.
The opening drive, we saw 2 deep balls by Syracuse. After that, really no more. They've gone with the short throw, except the busted coverage on the wheel routes. They haven't had to go down the field. The slant has been there. The out has been there.
So a first down at the 22. Now Smith gets the call. Smith has a good burst, and he's down to the 15. Here's Ryan Burke.
Hi, Joe. SportsCenter in-game. Some breaking news from the Pac-12 as the conference has suspended 10 players involved in the fight last night between UCLA and Arizona. The suspensions will occur for both schools next Saturday, October 29th. UCLA plays Cal. Arizona plays Washington. Full details following SportsCenter, which follows our game.
Play was over. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. 74 of the offense. 15-yard penalty. The down counts. Second down.
They're going to mark it back with the 15-yarder against the right tackle, Michael Hay. Remember, he was involved with a penalty against Bruce Irvin earlier in the game that kept a first and goal scenario alive for Syracuse. So they get backed up there, as it's explained to Doug Marrone.
How about Ryan's comment there on all the suspensions in the Pac-12 that will affect next week? Those teams are going to be hurt dramatically. Arizona, UCLA, total of 10 players suspended. Wow.
That was a very ugly situation last night. 2nd and 18 now after the 15-yarder against Syracuse. Here's the pitch. Could be a halfback pass, and it is. It is floated up there, but yet caught by Alec Lemon. They can do no wrong tonight.
Wow. You can only laugh at that. I mean, West Virginia had a couple guys back there, and that wasn't a throw as much as it was a punt. Bailey hangs it up there, but nobody could respond for West Virginia. Great effort by Lemon to get up there, but that ball's got to be played by somebody by West Virginia. That's a punt.
This is starting to become a statement evening for Syracuse. Bailey down to the 5. I mean, this is one of those nights where you can see a program actually take the next step. You can see them advance themselves.
Well, they're playing the role of the bully. When you call a halfback option pass,
you're punching them right in the mouth.
Absolutely. You're up 35-16 and you had 2nd and forever and you're not running clock. You're going halfback option. You're becoming the bully in the Big East.
Doug Marrone getting this place back to the way it used to feel when he played here. And then under Pasqualoni. Play action now on 2nd and goal. Money. Provo again. They're talking this over as Syracuse is celebrating. And they're saying incomplete.
Well, clearly, one official had a better view than the other and persuaded the other one of his view. I'm not sure what he saw.
They're not saying the continuation of a catch. He caught the ball before the goal line.
Yeah, he had control of that and came out. I think the official who was in front talking to the other in back was saying
catch 1, 2,
he didn't have
the goal line.
He didn't have control of the ball. He probably thought he saw him juggle the ball because he didn't believe he had 2 hands on it. But he's got control of that in 1 hand. And he doesn't lose it until he goes out of bounds.
Another look here.
Yeah, he's got control. He passes the goal line.
On the ground, but as he was going to the ground, the ball came out. Incomplete pass.
Wait. Yeah, but that's if you don't take 2 strides. Right?
No, all he has to do, and they're going to review this, all he has to do is break the plane of the goal line.
That's right.
With control of the ball. He's holding it with one hand. They say that he juggled it and lost it, but he didn't. He didn't lose it until he hit the ground.
Well, the problem here for Syracuse is that the call on the field is an incomplete pass. So they're going to need the indisputable video evidence in order to reverse that.
I love the explanation on the field as to what they think they saw.
That's fine.
That's great. It makes it easy. Now you review it, and you can see that what they think they saw didn't actually happen.
Watch where he catches the ball, how he possesses it, and then crosses the plane of the goal line.
Yeah. He's got control firmly in one hand. That ball's not moving. It's not juggling.
And to your point, you possess the ball beyond in the field of play beyond the goal line. Yes. You've taken the 2 strides. Once you cross that goal line with the ball,
you break the plane. It's good.
It's good. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter when you're falling to the ground now 6 feet out to the right.
Yeah. See, I think they believe that he started to lose the ball and never had control because it was in one hand. But you can see from the replay, he controlled it from the field of play through the end zone until he hit the ground out of bounds.
Further video review. It is a catch and a touchdown. The receiver gets 2 feet on the ground as he crosses the goal line. And it is not until then that he's contacted by the defender and the ball comes out as he's going to the ground.
I mean, listen, that was clear as day that he catches the ball before the goal line, takes 2 strides, crosses the plane, breaks the plane. Everything after that doesn't matter at all.
I agree, but there's nothing wrong with the way the officials handled it. I like the fact that the 2 got together and talked, and they clearly explained to everyone what they thought they saw. And the guys up in the booth were able to say, you didn't see what you think you saw.
It's fine. It's how the process is supposed to work.
Exactly.
Replay official Bob Welsh reversing that call on the field. 3 touchdowns tonight for Nick Provo. Unanswered points by the Cuse, 42-16 over number 15. And for West Virginia, Ron, 2010, 2011 looks just like it.
And if you don't remember history, you're doomed to repeat it, and that's happening in West Virginia. Syracuse beating them up. They're not taking them out behind the woodshed. They're taking them in the dome and beating them.
Brad Starks on the return. And a good one at that, out across to the 36. Been a long time since Syracuse had a win like this. Got to go back to 2002 when they defeated number 8 Virginia Tech, the last win against a top 25 team. Doug Marone's squad in position for a big one tonight with ease.
Did somebody put rocks in your trick-or-treat bag?
Just so...
That had to be the case.
I can't take Halloween. It does nothing for me.
Man.
Nothing. Dressing up, the whole thing.
You got to get into it.
Here's the screen now to Austin. And Austin with about 9.5 yards there. It's been a fright night for West Virginia.
Oh, scary. I don't think they could have imagined having a night like this where they couldn't get anything going offensively on a sustained basis and that they couldn't stop Syracuse.
And Orlando Fisher is now down at the 40. As they tend to him, it gives us a chance to take a look forward with unlimited action coming up this weekend, brought to you by Sprint.
Well, all these guys ought to be on upset alert because the gauntlet has been thrown down tonight by Syracuse. Big games for all these Heisman contenders. Trent Richardson moving up fast. Landry Jones, Russell Wilson, and Andrew Luck.
And all of them will be in prime time tomorrow night on our networks. You got Trent Richardson in Alabama on ESPN2 and Oklahoma and Texas Tech on either ABC or ESPN3. As Fisher walks off. Stanford, Washington, same deal, 8 o'clock ABC or ESPN3. And the big one on ESPN, Wisconsin and Michigan State, number 6, number 16. Right here we got number 15 getting beat up in the dome. Justin Garrison. And it'll be a first down just short of midfield. A reminder that after we finish things up here at Syracuse, Sports Center will be coming your way.
You know, this is really horrible for the Big East. When you think about West Virginia being their highest rated team, they may not have a ranked team.
Well, last year they put forth an unranked Connecticut team in the Fiesta Bowl. And now they set up the tunnel screen, and that goes to Stedman Bailey for a first down. Last year they took so much heat for putting forth a team that had lost to Temple and Rutgers and came into that Fiesta Bowl like that. That
could be critical when you think about the evaluation period of keeping your automatic BCS berth. If they go 2-3 years without having a highly ranked team, they may lose that thing automatically.
Which is why they're out there trying to grab teams like Boise so that they can try to maintain and hold on to that big piece of the money pie and stay as an AQ conference. And this is a diving effort that time by McCartney. I mean, that's what this is all about right now. The play by, when people say, I don't understand, they're trying to get Boise. And listen, they're trying to exist, and they're trying to maintain that big piece of the pie coming into their pocket.
Always follow the money.
Pretty easy to read there. Well, based on what's going on with Missouri right now, there could be a domino effect that has the Big East in serious trouble come next week. I mean, serious trouble if Missouri goes to the SEC and the Big 12 decides we're going to go calling upon Louisville and West Virginia.
Well, you mentioned UConn last year winning the conference. Now look at that right column. You see all these losses. West Virginia already had 1 loss. They're going to go to 2 losses. They won't have a team that's in the top 20.
Gino's going to take a shot at it here. Oh, and that's a great effort going up by Brad Starks for the touchdown pass.
Big time play. Big time play by the 6'3" senior. He sees this ball right from the beginning, and he gets to the highest point well before the defender can get up there and look for it. Look at him take up now. Jumps over Kevin Scott.
Tyler Bittencourt for the conversion kick. Michael Molinari to hold. Kick is good. Syracuse 42, West Virginia.
Now West Virginia gets to 42-23 margin. Let's continue this discussion that you brought up, Rod, because hey, listen, the ACC looks like they're going to be getting a heck of a football program in Syracuse.
One on the rise, years. Absolutely.
I mean, the ACC is going to be getting a Syracuse program that looks like the Syracuse program of old in terms of where they're headed. Yeah. But in terms of the Big East, if Missouri goes to the SEC, there is the possibility that the Big 12 would then, obviously it drops down to 9, would add teams to go to 10 or 12, of which it's been reported that Louisville and West Virginia are very much in play.
Right. Right.
Where does that then leave the Big East?
Well, they're reaching out to Boise State and others, and personally, I can't see Boise State making the move into this conference and giving up what they have.
There's no guarantee that they would be an automatic qualifying conference.
Particularly with a conference that if they go another season without a ranked team, and then you go next year and they have that issue, they're going to lose that automatic BCS berth.
Once again, Syracuse and Pitt off to the ACC. That league now enjoys stability. Boise, Central Florida, schools like SMU, Houston talked about as being invitees to the Big East. The Big East, now this is the one that I think people may be confused on. The Big East saying, all right, we need to raise the exit fee. We need to dissuade teams from leaving. But that is contingent upon expansion to the Big East. As it stands right now, West Virginia, Louisville, these schools can walk out the door and not pay $10 million.
Exactly. It'll be just as it was. They can pay the $5 and walk out. And they have that right up until the time they bring in new members.
So Missouri is right now the domino that everybody's watching here. Kobina on the return. And Kobina just settles in at the 20. Well, the chase heads to Talladega. Point leader is Carl Edwards. He's trying to hold back Kyle Busch. Jimmy Johnson's looking to bounce back. The chase continues at Talladega Sunday at 1 Eastern on ESPN.
Not looking good for Jimmy Johnson. I mean, last week, last week's finish really hurt him. Prior to that, he had been on a path to get back in it, fell off last week, and there may be too much ground for him to make up now.
Ryan Nassib back out on the field with that orange offense after Starks had the 25-yard touchdown reception. It was a beauty from Geno Smith, but Syracuse looks to just close this thing out. And Jerome Smith muscling his way to the 24.
They'll be deliberate. They'll burn some clock. They'll continue to pound on this defense the way they have.
So you're saying they'll play this fourth quarter the way they played the first?
Yeah. Although, you know, they've had a couple of big pass plays in there as Hackett is really happy with the way his offense performed. And he's also happy his dad, Paul, is here tonight to watch it.
Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator. There's that screenplay out to Alec Lemon.
Talking to Nathaniel Hackett yesterday, telling us about his philosophy and how much he learned not only from his dad, Paul Hackett, who's been a head coach in the NFL and college football, but how heavily influenced he was by Bill Walsh when he was an assistant coach, graduate student over there at Stanford, and Bill Walsh was there and helped teach him so much about offensive philosophy and the West Coast offense, and he's incorporated part of that into what he does here at Syracuse.
Syracuse is 5 for 5 on third downs in this second half.
10 of 14 on the night.
That'll get you some W's. Nassib throws a strike again. Dorian Graham.
That is really good quarterbacking. That's the guy who knows what he's doing and playing with confidence. Had time, looked to his left, looked to his right, and then he bought some time and got outside for a better view. Didn't force anything. Came to his third option. Look at him. Get a better view, get out there, put the ball in one spot only his guy can get it. That's good quarterbacking.
I'm laughing to myself because halfway through our week of preparation, there was a point where you called me and you said, this Nassib is good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he's good. He's under the radar. He's good.
Yeah, I liked him. I got frustrated every time he'd throw a ball and sail it.
Bailey with a big move at midfield. And Antoine Bailey is all the way down inside the 15 to the 12.
I tell you, that offensive line is wearing out those guys up front. Bailey wasn't touched until he was 8 yards in, didn't have to make a move and worry at all. That offensive line has dominated that smaller defensive front and the 5 defensive backs.
50-yard run. He's got 120 on the night. Amin Moore. They go small and fast to big and burly. Down to the 5. Real Deal is brought to you by Wendy's, and the real deal tonight has been Ryan Nassib.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. 24 of 32, responsible for 5 touchdowns tonight, 4 touchdown passes, and ran one. Perfect. No interceptions at all tonight.
You can vote for the Real Deal at ESPN.com on your mobile phone. He has played smart and patient, yet aggressive.
Yep.
Bailey is going to be close to that first down line as they were surging ahead to try to set up a first and goal there. George Wright had the tackle in the middle of that West Virginia defense.
They are knocking on the door of almost half 100 on the number 15 team in the country. You believe that? Wow.
Jeff Castile, longtime defensive coordinator. Seeing that power game of Syracuse. 3rd and 1. Bailey scored again. Najee good. Run over. They're knocking on half 100.
Yeah. Syracuse playing like the bully of the East. Wow, this is like back in the day. This is good old-fashioned power football. Andre Tiller, 66, the right guard with a great block up front. And Bailey just finishing off good, the linebacker. Wow. Unbelievable.
Great energy in the dome, but a tough night for Coach Holgerson.
Adding an eternal flame at the Coliseum for Al Davis and Raider greats Willie Brown, Jim Plunkett, and others were around for that.
This is Brad Starks on the return. He had that good-looking touchdown catch earlier in this quarter, but Syracuse responded again. A 79-yard drive and another touchdown run. And let's look ahead to the schedule now for the Orange, as they are soon to find themselves with 5 wins this year. At Louisville, at Connecticut. Then they come back to the Dome for a game that'll be in the Friday night primetime slot against South Florida. By the way, Louisville beat Rutgers tonight in another Big East game.
Well, you have to believe that the way Syracuse has played tonight, they have a shot to do better than they did last season when they won 8 games.
Of course, with a win tonight, they'd have the tiebreaker against West Virginia, and that is just a flat-out drop by Stedman Bailey.
So 8 wins last season. Working on closing out number 5 here tonight. And a Big East race that's wide open.
49 points, the most points Syracuse has ever scored in their long history of this rivalry with West Virginia. 59 meetings as they play for the Schwartzwalder Trophy. And they got after Gino again, but this time it was caught by Stedman Bailey for what will be a West Virginia first down. Diabate applied the pressure to Smith. Really the story of the night for the defense, isn't it, Rob?
Oh, yeah. It's a pressure on Geno Smith. I mean, Syracuse came in and they knocked him around. And West Virginia will have to deal with that the rest of the season. 3 sacks and countless hits on Geno Smith.
Sean Alston spinning his way for 9 yards. Let's check in with Ryan.
All right, Joe, we have a final from ESPN2, and the upset is complete. Rutgers had a chance, but was picked off. Dexter Heyman seals the deal for the Cardinals, and Cincinnati, assuming West Virginia loses in the Dome, Cincinnati will be the last unbeaten team in the Big East. Louisville wins 16-14. Joe and Rod?
Another man down, looking like a cramped up situation at Keon Lynn. So we were headed here now, Rod, to potentially, as you brought up very astutely, grabbing all these losses around the Big East with the exception of Cincy. Another one of these years where the Big East could be putting forth a lackluster representative of the BCS, depending on how this thing plays out. But early on into the conference schedule, it's not looking so pretty.
More ammunition for taking shots at the Big East. And more support for why you have Pittsburgh, Syracuse, TCU all deciding to leave the conference. It's unstable. And it can't make a mark nationally right now. Not with another season where they won't have a team ranked in the top 20.
Syracuse had the loss in double overtime to Rutgers, a game that they really gave away. There was a fumble in overtime. In other situations, they could have put that game away. You do get the sense that this program is very much headed in the right direction, but at the end of the day, still already 2 losses on the season.
Well, look out ACC, because they're coming, and they're also planning to assault recruiting in Atlanta.
I think it's going to open up some doors along the Eastern Seaboard, and Syracuse getting back to the way they used to be. Tavon Austin on the screen. Good block in front. First down. Crossing midfield down to the 45.
You talk about Syracuse, Pitt, and TCU leaving. This is what you'll have left, at least for the moment. You mentioned earlier, talk about Louisville and West Virginia maybe on the way out, depending on what happens with Missouri, and then half a dozen other schools possibly coming in.
Dustin Garrison, although if the situation with the Big 12 happens and they expand all, if Missouri goes to the SEC, there's a lot of ifs here, by the way, and I apologize for that, but if Missouri goes to the SEC, and if then that means that Louisville and West Virginia head over to the Big 12, if you're those other schools, do you come over to the Big East? Because would there even be a guarantee of the AQ status? The ball is loose, by the way, on the pressure, and West Virginia recovers. If you're one of those other schools and there's the continued attrition and erosion of the Big East, how attractive is it to you?
I just look at one school, Boise State. That's the one that they believe can really help them on a number of fronts. I don't see any way Boise State comes out to the Big East if you lose any more schools.
With there being no guarantee of automatic qualifying status down the road in the BCS. That's the problem. Sean Alston with the carry this time. So it'll be a 4th down for West Virginia, trailing by 26 in what has just been a night where Syracuse had everything click.
But we got to see more resolve out of West Virginia to protect the quarterback, and Geno Smith has got to protect the football better. He can't throw it up, and he just can't give it up when he gets knocked around a little bit.
And trying to fight for that yardage to make. He's going to be close to it, but Kevin Scott came up and met Stedman Bailey. So it'll depend on the spot, or else it's a turnover on downs.
And you know, going forward, every team that plays West Virginia will look at this defensive game plan and say, well, they don't respond well to teams that are physical with them. So let's go after them. Let's knock them around, beat them up, hit the quarterback, hit the receivers.
They're going to measure this. Dana Holgorsen strongly hinted to us that the offensive line has a few issues, but we saw them, all the issues tonight. And they're going to be short, so it will be a turnover on downs. And with that, we will take a break as Syracuse will look to get rid of the remaining 2.5 minutes and celebrate a win here. For what, their current athletic director with a career-high 360 yards passing and a school record 34 completions. But then there's Joe Morris with 168 yards and a Syracuse 27-24 win. Boy, Oliver almost looked like Andrew there.
You know, Andrew's going to tease him about the half jersey exposing the six-pack abs.
Well, if you don't know, Oliver Luck, the athletic director here at West Virginia, is the father of the leading Heisman Trophy candidate and the star of the Stanford Cardinal, Andrew Luck.
We got a lot of big games tomorrow. Anyone in particular standing out for you that you're going to text me about all day?
I'm very curious to see what happens with Wisconsin and Michigan State and Russell Wilson and the tremendous backfield with Monty Ball, who, by the way, has 16 rushing touchdowns this year, and we're not even talking about that.
Yeah.
And what they do against that very talented Michigan State defense, who's going to be without Golston after he was suspended by the Big Ten. How do you think that factors into things in that matchup, Rob?
I think that's an issue. That's an issue for that run defense for Michigan State.
And you should be tuning in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Chris Fowler and Lee Corso and Kirk Desmond Aaron and David Pollock for game day, as they're going to give a very much extensive preview of that number 6 versus number 16. Reminder, Sports Center is coming up after this game. And tomorrow night in primetime, we got 4 big games with 4 Heisman candidates all in action on our networks.
Yeah, the Oklahoma game and the Alabama game, a lot of interest in seeing Landry Jones and Trent Richardson. Wisconsin will have their hands full with Sparty, and Stanford will have their hands full with Washington and their high-powered attack. Delano Howell, safety for Stanford, will not play in that ball game.
Really?
Hurts them, yeah.
And Syracuse keeps on the ground with Smith.
Under the radar tomorrow?
What's that?
Georgia Tech, Miami. Georgia Tech bounce back.
They have to bounce back after that loss against Virginia. Here's a guy who has a program that has bounced back. Doug Marrone, 47-year-old former player here at Syracuse, 3rd year as the head coach, who said, when I came here, we were one of the worst BCS conference teams in the country.
Spoke the truth. He was right.
Now they're about to have their 5th win of the year against number 15, coming off a year in which They earned a bowl victory. They're going to be headed to the ACC with this program headed in the right direction, trying to get back to where it once was. And they're closing in on that. He said to us yesterday, Rod, what I keep asking this team, this program, is when are we going to take the next step? It's been nice. We've won. But when are we going to do something like what we can do here? Flag was a delay of game, by the way.
Well, they got one of the big dogs tonight in West Virginia. They got him last year. And this one, no sneaking up on West Virginia. And how will West Virginia bounce back going forward? That's the real question for them.
Ten seconds will remain as the change of possession takes place. A week from tonight, we will be at Cowboys Stadium, the Palace in Arlington, Texas, to see Gary Patterson's TCU Horned Frogs against BYU. Two teams that on Friday Night Football this year gave us great thrills right down to the wire.
Yeah. Looking forward to getting to that stadium and seeing what that's all about.
One last effort from West Virginia as they will just keep it on the ground. Alston's going to pad the stats a bit. And this clock is going to run down on a Syracuse victory, a very special one for head coach Doug Marrone. Those 4 touchdowns in the second half. 49 points, the most Syracuse has scored in all their meetings with West Virginia. This is the 59th. 49-23. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, you can log on to ESPN.com. For Rod Gilmore and our entire hard-working crew, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night, including SportsCenter right now.